This is the Tom Bigby Tales, and I'm your host, Shannon Evans. Tonight, this episode is about two generals who served in the Civil War and who were local attorneys and leaders in our community. The first is General Jacob Hunter Sharp, who was a lawyer, a legislator, and the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. Jacob Hunter Sharp was born in 1833 in Hertford County, North Carolina. Soon after his birth, his parents moved to Pickens County, Alabama, before moving to present-day Columbus, Mississippi. His father was a Mississippi state senator and a prominent member of Columbus's society. Jacob attended the University of Alabama and then studied law and was admitted to the bar in the mid-1850s. He was his brother Thomas's law partner in Columbus. Jacob and his brother Thomas joined the Confederate Army in the Tom Bigby Rangers in 1861. Jacob became their captain, and they were part of Blythe's Mississippi Regiment, and then Company A of the 44th Mississippi Infantry in Chalmers' High Pressure Brigade. In the Battle of Shiloh, Sharp was cited for bravery and promoted to colonel. At the Battle of Munfordville, he served again with great valor and received notification. He was then placed in command of the brigade at Chickamauga and Chattanooga when Chalmers was wounded. Sharp again commanded the unit at the Battle of Resaca after General William Tucker was wounded. Sharp was promoted to general in July of 1864 after the Battle of Atlanta. Sharp then took the Army of Tennessee in the battles of Franklin and Nashville. At Franklin, Sharp's men captured 3 stands of Union colors, but it was not enough, and the Confederate Army suffered a crushing defeat in Nashville. Sharp retreated with his army to Mississippi. They then were ordered to report to General Joseph Johnston in North Carolina in the spring of 1865, arriving just in time to surrender at Bennett's Place in Greensboro, North Carolina in April of 1865 to Phil Sheridan. Sharp returned home to Columbus and opened a new law practice with J.E. Lee and W.W. Humphreys. Sharp's wife, Sarah Sally Harris, was the niece of General Jeptha V. Harris Jr. of White Arches and the niece of James Walton Harris, who owned Whitehall in Columbus. Her father was a judge, William Littleton Harris, a distinguished attorney and judge of the Mississippi Supreme Court. Jacob met his wife-to-be while clerking for the judge when he was an attorney in Columbus. Jacob's wife would become an ardent member of the United Daughters of the Confederacy after the Civil War for the Stephen D. Lee chapter. The Sharps were ardent members of First Methodist Church and were the parents of Captain Thomas Hunter Sharp, who served as Columbus's postmaster and later mayor. See the episode on the former mayor, veteran, postmaster, and murderer. Yes, their son would be a murderer. Jacob settled into civilian life after the Civil War, but bristled under Reconstruction. He took an active part in fighting against the rise of the new African-American middle class and those running for public office and the betterment of their lives. He led the chapter of the Lowndes County Ku Klux Klan, and he became the owner-editor of the Columbus Independent in 1879, where he published articles and editorials damning carpetbaggers and usurpers. He became the president of the Mississippi Press Association and was known as a firebrand. He was elected to the state legislature in 1886, where he served until 1902. He served as the House Speaker from 1886 to 1888. He retired from public life in 1903 due to his failing health, and he died in Columbus on the 17th of September in 1907. He is buried at Friendship Cemetery, and his portrait in Confederate grays hangs in the Mississippi Hall of Fame. He is buried beside his wife in Plot 148 of Friendship Cemetery. He also has a cenotaph in the military section honoring all the generals from Lowndes County in Friendship Cemetery. The second general that I'd like to feature in this particular episode is Jeptha Vining Harris Jr. Jeptha Vining Harris Jr. was born in 1816 in Elbert County, Georgia, to Jeptha Sr., a prominent lawyer and planter and state representative. Jeptha Jr. graduated from the University of Georgia in 1836 and then moved to Lowndes County in 1840, where he had large land holdings and a sizable plantation. He was a state senator from 1858 to 1861. In 1857, Harris built a two-story Italianate Greek Revival house for his townhome. The home has stayed in that extended family from then until 1967. That house is called White Arches. At the outbreak of the Civil War, Harris equipped a company of soldiers at his own expense. In 1861, Harris joined the Mississippi militia and was elected captain of a company in September of 1862, when he was commissioned a brigadier general of state troops posted in Columbus on May 7th of 1863. Harris's brigade was ordered to defend the riverfront at Vicksburg at that time. The brigade made up the east line at Fort Hill in Vicksburg. After Vicksburg fell and surrendered on July 4th of 1863, the men in Harris, paroled and disillusioned, went home, and the brigade was dissolved along with Harris's rank of general. In August of 1864, Harris was appointed colonel of a militia to protect Macon, Mississippi. This is where his service would end after the surrender at Appomattox Courthouse. Harris returned to farming after the war, where he would remain until his death in 1899. To learn more about the history of Columbus, Mississippi, to see Vining's house, which is on the pilgrimage in the spring, please follow and like the Historical Home Tours of Columbus Facebook page, and like, follow, and subscribe the Tom Bigby Tales podcast. I want to thank you for joining me tonight on Tom Bigby Tales podcast. My name is Shannon Evans.